Hey, what's going on, everybody? Justin here at Trolling for Reads, and in this video, I will kind of want to go over my announcement, I guess, of participating in the March of the Mammoths Readathon. This is a really cool readathon idea that I found out, I think, on the 1st of March, so I still got plenty of time to do it. If you guys haven't heard of it, it's a really just interesting readathon idea where the idea is to read a mammoth book, and we'll get to that in just a second. This readathon was created by Jason at Old Blues Book and Verse, I just said Jason, didn't I? Alex at Big Owl Books, and Lukash at Totally Pretentious. And they kind of came up with this really cool readathon idea, which is during the month of March, since it's kind of like the end of winter and everything, is to read a mammoth book, which they consider as anything of 800 pages or more. So yeah, definitely a huge book, but you get the whole month to do it. And that's the only challenge. So I thought that was kind of a cool, like, kind of laid back, chill readathon idea. And I have plenty of books over 800 pages. I'd say at least like 20 or so. But what we're going to be doing instead of, I thought it'd be kind of a cool video idea to go through all the titles I have over 800 pages, but we're going to be using my Goodreads account, so I don't actually have to go through all my books to see which ones are actually over 800 pages or not. So yeah, I'll see you over there in just a second. Alright, so here we are on my Goodreads account. I just thought it'd be easier just to see exactly which books and how many and stuff I have for, titles over 800 pages. So we're just gonna do it this way, just so I don't make sure I miss anything. Alright, so they must have like a page number right there. Alright, so we do that. And then we'll just sort it by number of pages, and we're just gonna go through them. I should have probably like at least probably 20, I'd say. Alright, well, History of Greece, as much as I'd like to, that's actually like a 12-volume set. It's not really a single book with 5,500 pages. That'd be pretty insane. But that's actually one of my oldest books I have. Actually, I think it is my oldest books I have, I think from like the 1860s. So it's actually pretty cool. Complete Greek Tragedies, technically that's four-volume set. Those are those tragedies you see with kind of the Greek figures on the spines in my videos. They're not really a full set either. So apparently a lot of my books are actually not really going to be, the ones over 800 pages are actually going to be sets, it seems. Then I've got 2 copies of Plutarch, so one of them's right there. I don't know how they got it in under 2,000 pages. Plutarch's usually like a 4, 5, 6, 7-volume set. Alright, there we go. Here's the first like single volume thing, Plato the Complete Works. Not reading that. I'm not reading that cover to cover ever, like not a single time in my life, so you can forget about that one. And then the same thing for the basic works of Aristotle. Though I do like these, like I do read parts of them out, or like individual works out of them, and I'm thinking I might move those back to the like when I rearrange my library. I'm gonna put them back up so you can actually see them, because they're some of like my favorite books there. And then we got Byzantium, which is a 3-volume set by John Julius Norwich. Just did like pretty much the gold standard of Byzantine history. And then another Parallel Lives. And now it looks like we're actually getting into legit single volumes over 800 pages. Oathbringer is technically the 3rd book, and I haven't read Words of Radiance right here, so yeah, I'd have to read that one before I read that one, but I'm kind of like, on the fence about it. Not really on the fence, because I know I'm going to like read it at some points more, just I'm kind of like just dreading it in a way. Actually, Will Durant's series, I don't know if all of them are, well, it looks like pretty much most of them are going to be over 800 pages. We got the medieval one, the Age of Revolution, then the first one about the ancient Near East and the Far East. So actually those might be kind of a cool idea. I think the entire set, when it goes up to the Age of Napoleon. I've never really like read them straight through ever, not a single one, because they're kind of like dated now. But as like kind of an amateur historian, I almost feel like I'm compelled to like have like this complete set of Will Durant's Story of Civilization. So actually that first one, this might be a good chance to actually go with Our Oriental Heritage, the Story of Civilization, the first volume in the set. That might be kind of might be a good chance to do that. Actually, I don't think I have the Encyclopedia of World History, but that's legit, just like an encyclopedia. It's not like something you'd want to read. We got, Christopher Tyerman's God's War, just a massive history of the Crusades. I've had that one for forever and ever. I think someone got that for me as a gift, but it's like like, yeah, obviously over 1,000 pages, and I've just never really even attempted it. So we've got Dreadnought by Robert Massey. And this is actually the wrong one that I wanted. I got Dreadnought because I thought that was going to be about, like, just basically the battleships and stuff of World War One. As you guys know, I read a lot of, like, World War One. I have, like, a nice little collection going there. But it's actually Castles of Steel is the one dealing sort of with that topic. Dreadnought is more about the naval arms race between the German Empire and the British Empire in the, like, generation or two leading up into World War One. So to me, it just seemed like it was going to just be like a completely dry read, because that's not exactly quite what I had in mind. So then we got the story of the Reformation, so the 16th century, in the Story of Civilization series. Then we got The Way of Kings, but I've actually already read that one. Definitely not reading it again. You know, there's my generous 3 stars. There's probably more like 2.5 if they gave out half stars on Goodreads. That's kind of partly why I'm not quite looking forward to Words of Radiance, I suppose. The Sword of Angels is by some random, like, author I've never heard of, never seen anyone else talk about it, but John Marco. Got him, like, last year, and it's the 3rd book. There's also The Devil's Armor and the Eye of God, I think. But I don't think either of those are over 800 pages. Don Quixote, I actually didn't think it was quite that long. My copy definitely isn't 800 pages. This is just like the one they must have just like when I just clicked on Don Quixote. Josephus, the complete works, definitely not reading that as my read. Finished Conan, so can't do that one again, as much as I'd like to. Ooh, Napoleon in Life is actually probably my most recent 800 plus page book. I want to start learning more about the Napoleonic era, because a lot of the flintlock fantasy I read is kind of taking place or inspired by that kind of era. Plus, it's just kind of a topic in history I've never really studied, and I told myself at the beginning of this year one of my goals was to start reading about some different historical ages and subjects that I normally don't. And pretty much, as I've said before, but if you're new to the channel, like once I get to like the Renaissance era, I kind of like really trail off, except for World War One for history studies. So pretty much everything is like ancient or classical or medieval. So this would be a good chance to kind of brush up on, you know, the beginning of the 19th century, in a, you know, just a pivotal chapter, especially in European history. The Journals of Sir Walter Scott is actually 2 volumes. Those are actually over 100 years old as well. Those are pretty cool. I don't know if I'd ever like read them straight through, but they're kind of just like fun to flip through. We've got The Age of Voltaire, Another Story of Civilization. Actually, apparently pretty much that whole set is over 800 pages. I shouldn't be that surprised, because they're like giant on the page, like on my bookshelf. They're pretty massive. Classical Mythology is like the standard textbook on mythology, and it's actually fairly readable, but it is like a legit textbook. Like, it is like a mythology textbook that you would get for like college classes, I assume. I never took mythology in college, but I just like picked it up, you know, because I'm weird like that. Oxford History of the Classical World. I don't know if I actually still own that. I think that got like really damaged or something. No, I guess I do. Never mind. I see it on the shelf. I still have it. And these Oxford histories are kind of almost like lots of individual essays, kind of edited together to make kind of like a coherent sort of story of whatever topic they're covering. Ooh, The Wall of Storms, the Dandelion Dynasty #2. I read The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu, and I really, really enjoyed it. Just really cool, almost like Chinese fantasy, the Warring Three Kingdoms period. In a way, that's what it reminded me of. Definitely enjoyed that one, so that one's definitely like a forerunner now as well. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I'm not doing a reread of Harry Potter, so there's that. There's the Age of Napoleon right there, but I'd probably rather just read the Napoleonic book, the Napoleon biography, rather than kind of the Age of Napoleon, just because, well, I guess that one's not as old. If I was going to do that, I probably would just like try to read through them in sequence anyways. The Godiness Development is like kind of like a cool like faux leather bound book that I have. If you guys know what the Easton Press is, it's not Easton Press, but it kind of looks like that sort of style. It's basically just like a history of firearms from the beginning, like in 13 and 1400s down to whenever it was published. It says 86, but it was actually like in the 1800s when it was originally published. Let's see, A World Undone is highly recommended as a World War I history, but obviously I've already read it. Late Antiquity, A Guide to the Post-Classical World is not what I thought. It's a very odd book. I got it because Late Antiquity is one of my favorite time periods to read about in history. However, this was like half the book is an encyclopedia dictionary type thing, and the other half is just like a bunch of essays. It's a very just odd book. Let's see, The Age of Louis XIV, The Sun King. That's just another story of civilization books. Pretty much the entire one except for The Age of Greece and of Caesar and Christ apparently are over 800 pages. So that is a giant, massive set. And then the last one I have that is 800 pages or more is A History of the Ancient World by Chester Starrs, 800 pages. I think I read quite a bit of that one. I can't remember. I think I found it like in a thrift store when I was in college or something. It's just kind of, just like a fun, just sort of basic, like, just, history of the ancient world. I can't remember if it was, like, really dated or not, but Chester Starr also has a couple other books. I want to say it's The Greek Achievement that is also really highly regarded and is on, like, one of my lists to get. So that one actually might be interesting as well. Plus, it's, like, kind of the shortest one on the 800 pages or more, obviously, because it, just barely ekes it out at 800 pages. So, let me just go through those real fast. And so we got The History of the Ancient World as a contender. Wall of Storms would be a contender. Napoleon, A Life is a contender. Our Oriental Heritage, the first one of the Story of Civilization, is a contender. And Words of Radiance, the second book in the Stormlight Archive, is a contender as well. So I'm going to think about it. I might try and be an overachiever and do 2. Maybe depends on like what else I'm doing this month, so I'll have to like think about it. But I just thought this Mammoth the March of the Mammoths is just like a really cool, just like laid back, chill readathon idea for the month of March. I thought it was just really cool. Like I said, you get the whole month to read anything over 800 pages, so not like a ton of pressure because it's only one book. But, I'm going to just like pressure myself to try and do more than one. Or maybe what I'll do is probably read one and then start the other one and finish the other one the next month. Something like that. But there you guys have it. Those are all the books, I guess, that I have over 800 pages, plus a couple series and stuff that obviously are a lot more than 800 pages. So tell me what you guys think about any of them. If you're participating in the March of Mammoths Readathon, just leave a comment down below and tell me what you're reading in the month of March to fulfill the 800 page requirement. Definitely going to be some interesting selections out there. And always remember, even if you're reading a mammoth, read victoriously.